to begin. I'm Kathy Lewis, and on a night whose success depends heavily on how comfortable you are when you head to the valet to pick up your car, I can tell you that we are most grateful that we have a beautiful, unseasonably warm evening in Hampton Roads, and I'm delighted to extend a similarly warm welcome to the Darden Award for Regional Leadership. Believe it or not, it was 10 years ago last night that we inaugurated this award in honor of our key founder, Josh Darden. I discovered his remarks from that night among his papers, and I was struck by what he learned from his two key mentors, his father, Pretlow Darden, and his uncle, Colgate. They taught him, he said, that it really wasn't a matter of whether to be civically engaged. It was a matter of what you were going to be engaged in. They taught him, he said, mostly by example, that the key to leading a productive, fulfilling life is to lead a life of integrity and deep personal commitment to causes that matter. And that is certainly the case for our honorees tonight. We are so pleased to see each and every one of you here tonight, and we will be recognizing a few special guests this evening, beginning with Lieutenant Governor Ralph Northam.
Good evening, and thank you so much, Kathy, and welcome to all of you all, and just thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful evening to honor our award recipients. I can't think of any better people and groups to honor tonight, and starting with Newport News Shipbuilding, just having worked with them over the years in Richmond. We thank you for providing training to folks across the Commonwealth. We thank you for providing jobs, high-paying jobs. And we also thank you for building the ships and submarines that keep our military strong and keep our country strong. And in this day and age, that is so important. I also thank the Bronx for all that you have done. What great examples of community leaders, civic engagement. I just want to tell you that I got to know Mrs. Brock several years ago when we opened the Hospice and Palliative Care Center at Centera. It's a wonderful facility, something that means so much to this community at a time in people's lives that can be so difficult. So we thank you for that. And then I've gotten to know Mr. and Mrs. Brock even better with their contributions and their commitment to the Brock Environmental Center, and what a great facility, what a great opportunity this is to bring people from all over the world, from all over this Commonwealth, to teach them about being good stewards of our environment, taking care of the Chesapeake Bay, the Lynnhaven River, oyster restoration, etc. So we thank you so much for that. I will close by telling you that I work just down the street at King's Daughters, and I see a lot of babies and a lot of young children, and I often ask myself, what kind of world are we going to leave them when we're gone? And I can tell you that with people like Newport News Shipbuilding and people like Mr. and Mrs. Brock, I think we're going to leave the world a lot better for those, our children, our grandchildren, than we have it today. So I thank you, Newport News Shipbuilding. I thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Brock, and I congratulate you on your awards this evening. Thank you all so much.
Lieutenant Governor Northam, you may be the highest-ranking state official in the room, and we acknowledge that. But I do want to let you know that the highest-ranking official in our hearts tonight is Betty Darden, who is with us here at We're also delighted to have with us tonight a number of guests. You are welcome to applaud or hold your applause. It's all up to you. We're in a free country. We're delighted to have almost every member of the Darden Awards Selection Committee with us tonight. Jane Batten, Gil Bland, Andrea McClellan, and Ann Connor. We are similarly delighted to welcome tonight nearly every Darden Award honoree. And I'm going to be calling Bobby Bray tomorrow to find out why he is not here to complete the set. But we are delighted to have Bob Aston, Paul Hirschfield, Harry Lester, Jackie Zell, Debbie DeCroce, Vince and Suzanne Mistraco, Dubby Wynn, Jane Batten, and Town Bank and Norfolk Southern with us tonight. Thank you so much. Happy to have both the city managers of Newport News, Jim Borey, who is a civic member from the class of 2015, and Jim Spoor from the city of Virginia Beach with us today. We have this you will want to applaud for, because we probably have the largest collection of college presidents in this room tonight than I think there is anywhere in the Commonwealth. Beginning with Old Dominion University President John Broderick, who has been such a great partner to CIVIC. We're also glad to have the president of Tidewater Community College, Dr. Edna Barra-Colavani, a member of the class of 2013. EVMS President Dr. Richard Homan is with us tonight, as is the Virginia Wesleyan President. And we're glad to have Dr. Scott Miller with us tonight from Virginia Wesleyan, the President. And we have two presidents who have driven from some distance to get here tonight. From Ashland, the president of Randolph-Macon College, President Robert Lindgren. Longwood University in Farmville, the president, Dr. Taylor Reevely. Thank you all. Representing Senator Mark Warner is Drew Lumpkin, and Shannon Kendrick represents Congressman Scott Ridgell tonight. We also count among our greatest supporters the senior military leadership in Hampton Roads. We're very happy to have Captain Bob Geis with us today, who's the Chief of Staff of the Navy Region Mid-Atlantic, a proud member of the class of 2013. That might have been some of his classmates. He's also a liaison to our civic board. Captain Lou Shager is with us tonight, the commanding officer of Naval Air Station Oklahoma. Douglas Beaver is with us tonight from the class of 2016. He's the commanding officer of Naval Station North. And Captain Chuck Marks has been with us from the very beginning. He's with Fleet Forces Command, class of 2011. He has gone to Afghanistan and come back. So Chuck, welcome home. Also very glad to have with us tonight someone who's become an important part of our efforts over the past 2 years to deepen the learning and solidify the commitment of our graduates to take their places as regional stewards. A leadership consultant and lecturer at the UVA Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, Howard Hagee. Leading our efforts this year are two of the region's finest leaders. Would you please join me in welcoming Ann Connor, this year's event chair, and Andrea McClellan, who was last year's chair and this year's vice chair.
We are so happy that you're here with us tonight to honor an extraordinary couple, Joan and Macon Brock, for all they've done in so many ways across Hampton Roads and around the world.
And we're thrilled to be able to honor Newport News Shipbuilding for leading the way in philanthropy and volunteerism here in Hampton Roads.
Events like these simply aren't possible without extraordinary sponsorship, support, and the printed program you received tonight contains the names of all of those who have supported our efforts this evening. Our title sponsors, Norfolk Southern, Jim Squires, Jim Hickson, and their impressive team of thoroughbreds. PNC Bank, Michael Harold, Don Winchester, Andy Hodge, and the generous team at PNC.
Our visionary sponsor, Dollar Tree, Bob Sasser, and their illustrious team.
Our icon sponsors, the City of Norfolk, City Manager Marcus Jones, Lumos, James Nestor, and Matthew Rose. Old Dominion University, President John Broderick. Randolph-Macon, President Robert Lindgren, 7th Point, Chris Calcagno, and Town Bank, Bob Aston, my personal favorite.
And our community sponsors, Access College Foundation, Bank of America, U.S. Trust, Birdsong Peanuts, Chrysler Museum of Art, EBMS,
Hampton Roads Community Foundation, Harvey Lindsay Commercial Real Estate, Kaufman and Knowles, KPMG, Old Point National Bank,
Centera, Signature Family Wealth Advisors, Suzanne and Vince Mastraco, Wall Einhorn, and Chernitzer.
You will find a full list of all of our generous sponsors in your programs. Many thanks to each of you for your support of CIVIC, the Darden Awards, and tonight's award recipients. Please help us express our gratitude with a round of applause. This is a real night of celebration for Joan and Macon and for Newport News Shipbuilding. But it's also a night of celebration for Ed Power, who, at the end of this year, will be leaving the chairmanship of the CIVIC Board of Directors, having accomplished so much during his term. Our ODU Civic Scholars Program has flourished during his tenure, and our collaboration with the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce is delivering real dividends, as the Chamber has entrusted the programming for their lead Virginia Peninsula program to the CIVIC team. In fact, we're glad to have with us tonight the President of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, Mike Coons, and the Chair of the Chamber's Board, Rob Schufer Jr. Also chaired the Leadership Project Committee for the Hampton Roads Community Foundation, and the committee's report will be delivered in days. Ed has decided to hang up his inside business publisher's hat and spend a little more time with his wife, Marguerite, both of whom are with us tonight. Ed, where are you? We are so very grateful for the focus and energy you brought to your board chairmanship. CIVIC and the region are better off as a result of your leadership. The results of your efforts will bear fruits for years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join me in welcoming and thanking Ed Power?
Thank you so much, Ann and Andrew. You've been great partners to work with over recent years. I'd also like to thank a few other folks. The Civic Board, you've been terrific to work with. John Broderick and the team at Old Dominion University and the Civic Scholars Program. Debbie DeCroce and Debbie Wynn at the Hampton Roads Community Foundation. Your support has been invaluable and very much appreciated, so thanks to you. We're so pleased tonight to have not one, but two presenting sponsors. Norfolk Southern, our corporate Darden Award recipient from last year, stepped up in a big way to support this year's event. And their banker, PNC Bank, wanted to be part of the event as well. PNC's Hampton Roads Senior Vice President, Director Don Winchester, is a member of the Civic class of 2016, and Andy Hodge, a key executive for the region at PNC, is also a Civic alumnus. I'm delighted to have with us tonight, all the way from Washington, D.C., PNC President Michael N. Harold. Michael, please come on up.
Thank you, Ed, and good evening, everyone. I want to take a moment first and thank you and the people of Hampton Roads for the last 3 years, allowing us to enter your community, welcoming us as business partners and as civic engaged individuals. So thank you so much for that. It's been a wonderful experience for us. I want to take you back just a moment, 245 years. 245 years ago, some of the most talented people in America gathered in Williamsburg to try to decide if they wanted to be a part of what was then called a confederation of states or organizations. And in all of that dialogue, if you read history, which I love, you will see they talked about something which is relevant tonight. They made a decision that they wanted to talk about this being a commonwealth, not a state. And in those papers, when they talked about that, they said, we believe that we need to have a common weal, a gathering together of people for a noble purpose greater than ourselves. A gathering together of people for a noble purpose greater than ourselves. We're more than a state. We want to have a common weal, therefore commonwealth. Now, we don't use that stilted language anymore. We don't say, we're about your common weal. We call it civic engagement. And that's the legacy of this state, civic engagement. Now, the pundits will say, with some truth, that civic engagement across the country is down. And by that, I mean civic engagement where you're engaged about other than your personal interess. Well, you may support the Chrysler, or you may support the orchestra, or you may support this or that. What do you do for the common weal, the greater good? We're all busy. We have extraordinarily busy business lives. Business has been tougher than ever. It takes all of our time and our energy. We all have families that are scattered and busy and in school and engaged. That's all true. And kudos to the Civic Institute for saying, in the spirit of Mr. Darden, it is really important to celebrate the common weal, the common actions on the part of people who are engaged in things bigger than their individual interests, bigger than their individual interests. And that's what we're about tonight. And that's an important legacy. And sadly, it's a unique legacy which is under great stress across the country. We have wonderful stewards of many, many interests, but people who say, I'm interested in something more than what I'm personally interested in, is becoming a diminishing group of individuals and institutions. So it's my pleasure to, on behalf of the corporate Darden Regional Awards, to recognize Newport News Shipbuilding as an organization who represents the common weal and the Commonwealth. Please enjoy this video.
For 130 years, Newport News Shipbuilding has built and maintained the greatest ships in the world for the U.S. Navy. As the largest industrial employer in Virginia, we're also proud to call Hampton Roads home. Our shipbuilders give generously of their time and money to make our communities better for everyone.
We're part of the community, and that's been one of our cornerstones of the shipyard for as long as we've been here. It's a good feeling, you know. You can't help but feel rewarded when you're doing something like this. It doesn't matter, you know, what your level of skill is, or whether you've been out here on one build or 10. Everybody's help is appreciated.
Oh man, it's amazing. It's like a dream, really. It's surreal, you know, because we just look forward to this day, and now it's here.
Look at me now, said the cat.
It's really nice for an adult to come in to read, because it's not every day you have an adult who builds aircraft carriers and submarines.
So watching their faces, the interaction that we had with the classes as they gather around, look at the pictures, I mean, it's just a lot of energy. And if we can impart the excitement we have to them, and they enjoy reading, and they continue to read, they're going to do better in life and better in the world.
Well, it made me feel really proud to be a shipbuilder. So, I mean, it felt really good to know that my company is supporting the community and runners. So it was a good feeling.
Oh, this is priceless. This is exceptionally priceless. It's a good way for us to bond more together and show him how important it is to get out here and do something positive in the community, cleaning up and putting new mulch and stuff down to make everything look pretty.
We're here today to support the community, and we're also here to get the word out that Newport News Shipbuilding, we're the largest employer in Virginia, and we build nuclear submarines and carriers. And we're giving people information and giving back to the community today.
A couple of people in my family have passed away from heart disease, so I'm here to walk for them. This very special event is most people that Newport News Shipbuilding has had at this event ever, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
This is my first time. It's been great, so I think I'm going to make it an annual thing.
Newport News Shipbuilding provide over $1.5 million annually to the United Way of the Virginia Peninsula. They do that through providing service through 60 different local agencies. These local agencies serve youth, children, medical, food, and shelter programs.
When you think about the amount of lives that we're touching, it's required to have a tremendous impact, because if you're going to be in dialogue and in the presence of our future leaders and future employees, then you need to make sure that it's positive and it's significant, and that's what Career Pathways does.
They devote their time out of their workday to come speak to us young kids, to educate us and to inform us how the real world works.
It actually can play a big part in your future, because you're starting off small and you're technically practicing for what you're going to do in your future.
We at Newport News Shipbuilding are not only very proud to build the finest ships in the world, but we're also very proud going outside of the gates and helping the community.
It's my great pleasure to present the 2015 Darden Award for Corporate Leadership to Newport News Shipbuilding. Accepting the award tonight is Vice President for Human Resources and Administration, Bill Bell. Bill, come on up.
Thank you, Ed. Good evening, everyone. I heard it over here. I am honored to be here tonight representing the 21,000 women and men of Newport News Shipbuilding. Our company president, Matt Mulheron, had been looking forward to being here to accepting this award, and he's been looking forward for many months. Unfortunately, a death in his family has made his appearance here tonight impossible. However, he asked me to be here to express his sincere appreciation for this prestigious honor and to make brief remarks on his behalf. We are extremely honored to be this year's recipient of the Corporate Board Award for Regional Leadership. And we are honored to be a part of the ceremony recognizing two dedicated individual philanthropists, Joan and Macon. For it is one thing to be a Fortune 400 company and to be an active member of the community. It is much more impressive when two people give so generously of their hard-earned treasure. Thank you very much. So regardless of anything else I say tonight, Joan and Macon, this night is really about you. But it's also about the great Josh Darden, whose example of civic engagement inspires us all, both individuals and corporations alike. This region is far better for his stewardship, and he is terribly missed. The Darden Award is the most appropriate way to remember, celebrate, and carry on his legacy. As you saw in the video, Newport News Shipbuilding has been in this region for 130 years. And we believe that community engagement, volunteerism, and corporate citizenship are not just nice things to do. They are our responsibility, and in fact, they are our duty. At the shipyard, we say that we don't just build the greatest ships in the world, we also help to build communities. These communities span the region, and we support everything from the arts to the military, to the environment, to early childhood development. Yet our greatest asset when it comes to giving back isn't our wallet. It is our people who make the difference. At the shipyard, we have generations of shipbuilders who give not just their money, but their time. And I accept this award on behalf of those shipbuilders. They are ambassadors of giving and the real force behind our impact in the region. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about just one of them. Nathaniel Henry is a student in our apprentice school who has spent much of his spare time giving back. Recently, he began volunteering at a local soup kitchen. And you may say, hey, that's really good. He's volunteering his time to help feed the hungry. But Nathaniel didn't stop there. He found an additional way to serve. While at the soup kitchen one day, he asked if he could set up a mini barber shop. And the soup kitchen welcomed his idea. Nathaniel says, if there's one thing that makes a man feel like $1,000,000, it's a fresh haircut. So I am grateful to be able to use and share my gifts and talents to support their cause and invest in the community. Nathaniel is one example of thousands. Because we have such a large workforce, we ensure our corporate citizenship represents our company's diversity, and is inclusive of many different types of programs. We focus on programs that benefit youth, education, and workforce development, because today's youth will become tomorrow's leaders in Hampton Roads and beyond. And hopefully, we hope some will become shipbuilders. We are also proud to support organizations that promote inclusion and equality. We were a corporate sponsor of this year's Pride Fest at Town Point Park. Pride Fest is an event that empowers all people, LGBT and allied people, to recognize and support one another. On the peninsula, we supported the World Arts Celebration, which celebrates cultural differences and diversity. We also seek opportunities to combine our financial support with the power of our employee volunteer efforts to maximize the impact. This year, we partnered with an organization called Fear to Freedom. We were shocked to learn that 1 in 6 women and 1 in 33 men in America will be victims of sexual assault. Doing the math, we realized just how many of the 21,000 women and men at the shipyard and their families had likely been impacted by this horrible crime. When we learned how Fear to Freedom restores hope to these victims, we not only made a financial donation, but we also organized a volunteer day where dozens of shipbuilders and their families gave up a Saturday to help assemble kits that will be given to future victims. Volunteers were touched to realize that the clothes they were folding would soon bring comfort to someone experiencing unimaginable trauma. Now, if you read the news, you know that over the past several months, we have been really hard for our company. We're in a little bit of heading toward a downward cycle. And that cycle of our business has caused us to tighten our belts, make decisions on financial impacts across our business, and in fact has caused us to lay off people and we're going to have to lay off some more. Yet we will continue our community support. It's important for us, our employees in the region. We value these investments in our shipbuilders of today and of the future. By making this region, our region, a better place to live and work, we will sustain our business for the next 130 years. We thank you for this award and hope it will ignite other corporations to invest in the community, in their workforce, and in making a real difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bill, for those remarks. Newport News Shipbuilding plays a critical role in the life and future of this nation, and I know they'll continue for decades to play a critical role in the lives and future of this region. So thank you again for your remarks. And now to introduce this year's Darden individual honorees, I'm pleased to introduce someone who was there at the beginning of CIVIC and is a Darden Award recipient himself. The chair of the Slover Library Foundation, my friend, Harry Lester.
Ed, we're going to miss you. Does such a nice job. Well, good evening. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. Let me start by saying that Joan and Macon Brock are two of the nicest people I know. And I know a lot of people. Your program at your place tonight lists some of the remarkable philanthropic things that they've done to make our community a better place. So if you haven't read it, please take the time to do so. The list is very impressive, and believe me, it's just a snapshot of their good works. Last week I had the good fortune to sit next to Macon at the Association of Professional Fundraisers event in New York City that honored the Brocks as the 2015 National Outstanding Philanthropist, a pretty big deal. At some point in that evening, Macon leaned over to me and said, "I've heard enough about philanthropy for a while." So, Macon, I heard you. Tonight, this is all about leadership. Tonight, we honor Joan and Macon Brock as the recipients of the 2015 Darden Award for Regional Leadership. As many of you know, I'm going to take a chance and say, as all of you know, the Brocks were co-founders of Dollar Tree. They both worked hard for a long time, and they made a lot of money that they're now enjoying giving away. But as I said, tonight is a tribute to the Brock's impressive leadership qualities about regional leadership. Not just giving away the money they made, but providing leadership to the causes that they care about. Let me tell you about a few. Several years ago, Macon was one of the Virginia Beach Foundation leaders that worked closely with the Norfolk Foundation Board Chairman, Josh Darden, to form the Hampton Roads Community Foundation. So Macon knew Josh Darden well, respected Josh, as we all did. Since then, Macon has continued to provide his leadership talents to the Community Foundation as an active board member since that merger. The Chrysler Museum. Both Joan and Macon have served as chair of the Chrysler Museum Board, very hands-on. Subsequently, they played important roles in giving and raising money to substantially reconfigure and expand the museum. Today, the Chrysler Museum is a national treasure, Friends, that's regional leadership. The Chesapeake Bay Foundation, not just concerned about the environment in general, but in particular, our bay, our oysters, our fish. Of course, their leadership gift to CBF was important, but they also provided more hands-on assistance with the development of the Brock Environmental Center and its community programs, always with an eye on results. Today, Hampton Roads has an amazing award-winning environmental center, and I'll tell you it's overrun with visitors, which is a good thing, and it has a very important regional purpose. Eastern Virginia Medical School. Macon's father was a doctor in Norfolk, Lake Taylor, taking care of tuberculosis patients. Joan and Macon have honored his work with the creation of the M. Foscue Brock Institute for Community Health at EVMS, and Joan is dedicated to the United Way for Children program that works closely with EVMS as together they make meaningful changes in the lives of young people. I could easily go on about Randolph-Macon, about Longwood, about Virginia Wesleyan, about Access, about the United Way. And by the way, I'm pleased that leaders of all of those groups are here tonight, but I won't go on about all of those, but I suspect you're starting to get the theme. Joan and Macon Brock, successful people, generous people, caring people, community leaders. The Brocks have made significant financial investments in our community, and along with that comes their personal time and their keen interest in making things happen. That's called leadership. Like with any investment, they expect results. They want to see the difference their investments make, and they stay involved. I recently came across a quote by Timothy Shriver, chairman of the Special Olympics. He said, "The best leaders don't set timid goals that are easy to meet, but instead set bold, inclusive goals that are hard to achieve." He went on to say, "We're all looking for ways to make sense in a world without a center, but we'll only find that in people who lead with genuine humility and reckless generosity." The Brocks do not set timid goals, and they definitely lead with genuine humility. My friends, Macon and Joan Brock, our Darden Award recipients, are two very nice people. Thank you.
Once upon a time, all good fairy tales start with once upon a time. In a land far, far away, there was a young man who roamed the countryside. This young man had a kind and generous heart. Good fortune being what it will, and fairy tales being what they will, blessings and abundance followed this man. One day he came upon a magnificent kingdom. Well, every fairy tale with a kingdom has a king, of course, and every king has a beautiful princess. And this one's no different. The young man with the kind and generous heart discovered that he and the beautiful princess were destined to be together. Magically, they were born in the same castle maternity ward. The princess, just 3 weeks before him.
He married an older woman.
As magic and destiny would have it, the young man and princess fell in love and married. The king was pleased. The king's son, the castle prince, was pleased. The children of the kingdom were most pleased because the king and the castle prince and the young man and the princess with the kind and generous hearts created a beautiful toyland. It was a kindly kingdom of toys, or K&K for short. Soon there were K&K stores everywhere. Once again, magic and destiny would have their way with the kind and generous-hearted young man and his princess. Alongside the many toy stores sprung up a variety store, kind of a toy store for people of all ages. A dollar store. Soon they collected many, many dollars at their dollar store. So many dollars that they wanted to give them away to people who needed them more than they did. So they gave many of their dollar store dollars away to the people of the kingdom. The young man believed and often said, "You can't take it with you."
When's the last time you saw a hearse pulling a U-Haul?
There are leaders, and then there are leaders with heart. They seek to encourage, to educate, to inspire. Joan and Macon Brock are two such leaders, and tonight we honor them and we celebrate their lifelong dedication to love, beauty, and commitment.
Our parents grew up here. They came from the Carolinas and up here in the 30s. And so, of course, we love the place because the beaches.
You know, when you're homegrown, which is what I call ourselves, you know a lot of people, you know. I mean, as we all know, nothing happens in a silo. It's all about teamwork. And the more like-minded people that are together, the more things can get done.
Joan and Macon are the driving force behind initiatives that enhance our community, encouraging others to step up and get involved. The result is a legacy that will last generations.
It's like-minded people, you know, and they want to make something happen. And so they lock arms and the project grows and people get all on board and just, you know, it's the way philanthropy works, and it should work, collaborations.
So that happened the same way with the Chrysler. We had so many other people join the campaign that we literally transformed the Chrysler. When you look at it sort of in hindsight, but recently, to try to work in different fields of philanthropy. One, of course, would be arts for the Chrysler Museum. The other would be the medical area where the EVMS Brock Institute now resides. And we're very much interested in the environment. And so Joan and I made the lead gift to what's now the Brock Environmental Center, which is doing magnificently well.
Joan and Macon are deeply committed to improving the lives of others, not just here in Hampton Roads, but as far away as Sierra Leone.
When you do philanthropic work, your path takes you down an avenue you didn't realize that you really had an interest in, and one thing leads to another.
Joan and Macon's steadfast dedication to the education of young people in Hampton Roads drove them to provide leadership within the Access College Foundation to provide scholarships, resources, and support to young people who otherwise wouldn't have had access to higher education opportunities.
I got excited about that because I know what people can do together. We've had partnerships with our philanthropy all along, and one of the first ones was when I was the board chair of the Access College Foundation.
This foundation is nurturing the children, the kids, on how to get into college. That was a partnership that we like doing, and then when you do it, you see the results.
In Joan and Macon Brock, we see what is possible when we care enough to get involved, to look for opportunities to serve, to lift others up, to inspire.
But it's the practice of participation and giving what you can, which is all you ever want. And I think my first gift, I'm told, I don't remember it, was to Randolph-Macon, where I graduated in '64. And I must have given $5 and the next year $10, so that was a big increase percentage-wise.
A practice of participating and giving. That practice has generated so much for Hampton Roads from two people who know a good bit about love, beauty, and commitment.
must be like a movie star. This has definitely been Brock Week. So, apologize. Well, I just want to thank everybody for this recognition for Joan and I. It doesn't, I'm amazed to be in a room with community leaders extraordinaire, and it reminds me of my first, we're giving tribute to Josh Darden. When I was first in the business and hardly knew what I was doing, who knocked on my door but Josh with his tin cup and handed out, and to receive the Darden Award is really, and he would be amazed. Really, he would love it, because here I am. But as I reflect on these projects, I thought I'd give a couple of comments about them and why we get involved. And it's really because these things they keep on giving. And that's really what these projects are meant to do. It's not just to do one thing, but to keep going and have it help others. And take the Chrysler Museum, or we say the new Chrysler Museum, is such an example because it benefits so many people. Through the leadership of both of us, we've chaired 2 capital campaigns, with the last one resulting in the complete renovation of the museum, in addition to the glass studio and to the glass galleries is a great example of that. It took the catalyst of a few major gifts to lead the whole Chrysler family to step up and make a $45 million campaign happen. And that incidentally was at the time of the recession, so we're pretty proud of that. So we're so proud and happy to have led that effort and to see the changes that have gone on as a result of it. And one unintended consequence now is the art districts in Norfolk, which have been dreamed about, and now through the Perrys and the Brother Rudder, we've got glass venues right there in downtown. So it's going to be an arts district, and it'll just grow from there. So we're so excited about that. Another area of community is community health. What better way to advance that need than to assist EDMS to become the premier community medical college using the Brock Institute, named for my dad. This effort has galvanized this already ongoing focus to achieve status and reputation as the place for community-minded medical professionals. We are proud to continue the effort to leverage their leadership, and I think just about 75% of their graduates, I'm told, stay in this region. And a great example of that is our Lieutenant Governor, who's an EVMS graduate, soon to be our governor. Go, Ralph. The new Brock Environmental Center is yet another example of community leadership and cooperation. Through a committee of regional leaders, the idea was born to support CBF with a venue for learning about environmental issues that affect our waterways and the Bay as a whole. With the cooperation of the City of Virginia Beach, the Trust for Public Lands, and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, we have preserved 120 acres that might have been condos. You can't go to the Environmental Center without thinking the environment. I mean, it screams, look at me, look at the environment, look at the grasses, look at the setting. So just through osmosis, you become an environmentalist just by going there. So we're so happy to see that unintended consequence. And then especially to have this building be the greenest of the green that makes the CDF and the Brock Environmental Center and Virginia Beach and our whole region get national recognition, because this building is, quoting Will Baker, the greenest building in the world. I saw that on TED Talks. Talk about leverage and giving. The Access Foundation, which started small with the schools in just Norfolk and grown unbelievably over the years, with Joan as the chairman twice. It has reached all over the Southampton Road cities and has motivated so many young people to join the cause. As you know, they assist about 50,000 people go to college for young people who are motivated but maybe financially challenged. It is an outstanding example of growth and cooperation that a lot of civic-minded people have supported.
And the feeling we get for being leaders and supporters of Access College Foundation is the same that motivates everyone else. It gets results. Helping others grow through education is an answer to many problems. By leveraging the United Way, we have supported the United for Children campaign to help others in the lowest performing schools improve their summer programs, and by doing so, improving their efforts within the Norfolk school system. We've leveraged Norfolk Public Schools, EDMS, ODU, and many other worthy organizations to help bring this together. And this will help the Norfolk Public School system, I think, meet its challenges of at-risk schools. And finally, by contributing to our colleges, as you can see by all the college presidents here, they like us. We have helped Randolph-Macon, Virginia Wesleyan, and Longwood, and Old Dominion with the gifts that really are spaces for activities. They're public spaces, most of them. In Randolph-Macon, for example, which I credit Bob Lindgren, who's a president. I take a little credit for hiring him, by the way. We've just morphed the college into a brand new place. It was already beautiful, but now with new buildings and new programs, it's just absolutely astounding. So if any of you have college-age students, drop by and look at this college, because it's now beautiful. But also at Old Dominion, where we were able to make another Brock Commons there for student space, the Old Dominion Arts District, I think they called it. We built a stage at the end there, and so it gives a public space for that. And of course, that was just burned from Longwood, where we made that gift for Brock Commons there and did the same thing. And we like to do that because we get involved in it and we can participate with the staff and with the students. It really is fun to do that. I mean, you really get involved, so I encourage you to do the same. And in closing, I have a couple of quotes. When we were in New York last week, at AFP, there was an older gentleman who was the first speaker, and he'd given away over $1 million. And he must have been 85. And his intention to give away all his money before he died. So he had a quote, and I'll share that with you. He said, "You should aspire to inspire before you expire." Your expiration date. There's another quote that I read in the paper. I'm a big fan of Warren Buffett, and this quote must have been from his farmers out in Nebraska, had been an early investor, and a reporter asked her, "What is it like to have a pile of money?" And she said, "Having a pile of money is like having a pile of manure. It doesn't do any good until you spread it around." So that's my philosophy on giving. It's a real pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm just going to take a minute, but we are, of course, so pleased to accept this reward. It means so much to us, especially since it's coming from you, the Darden Institute, because all of you are here to make our community a better place. And what a wonderful organization to be representative of that. Megan and I have tried to be good stewards of our time and our resources during the years. It's been our pleasure. And so to be recognized by this organization is really special. It's kind of like icing on the cake. Thank you. Also acknowledge Josh Darden for his visionary leadership, because he knew that civic involvement was the fabric of a community. And thank you to Josh for that. Last but not least, I want to thank all of our friends that are here tonight. They've come from all places and cities and towns, and we really appreciate that. And I have to acknowledge my Longwood lady friends. They've been supportive of me for 55 years. That's friendship, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
so much, Joan and Macon. When CIVIC completed its first class back in 1998, our focus was on executive level leaders from both sides of the water, and that has not changed, but it has significantly expanded. And at the younger end of the spectrum tonight, I'm so glad you talked about these marvelous college students, there are 22 young men and women who are part of a civic leadership community at Old Dominion University. And this was a very forward-thinking idea of President John Broderick. That was about 3 years ago, and it's such a pleasure to have these young children working with us. We connect them with mentors and conduct monthly programs that are equipping them with the tools they need to be meaningful leaders in any community they choose. Now, of course, we hope that they will settle in Hampton Roads, and I am so happy to report to you tonight that many of them are with us tonight. Some of them have graduated, and some who intended to move to other communities have secured positions through their mentor relationships right here in Hampton Roads. So that is a beautiful thing. Will our civic scholars stand up and I'll show you where they are. They're all around here. One of those graduates of the Civic Scholars Program actually now leads that program for us as a full-time member of our staff, and that has been made possible by the generous funding from Old Dominion University. And so would you join me in welcoming Elizabeth Ruby? She's with us as well. The hospitality our scholars extend this evening is integrated into the very DNA of this organization, and in our case, DNA is spelled SJK. Because in addition to being our Director of Alumni Engagement, Sarah Jane Kirkland is also our Chief Hospitality Officer. She makes everyone feel valued and appreciated. We could not do what we do without her. Joan and Macon, I will tell you that she is now breathing a sigh of relief because the video went off without a hitch. That's all she's been worried about all day long. She has had alongside her Catherine Economist, whose attention to detail is legendary. She is the backbone of our recruitment initiatives. Catherine, thank you as well. When you experience hospitality with us, it is because of our extraordinary staff and the team of volunteers they inspire. And now I'd like to welcome back two of our most dedicated volunteers, Ann Connor and Andrea McClellan.
Find our place. Josh was very intentional about giving Civic the grounding it needed to grow roots in Hampton Roads, but now it is really up to us to carry that legacy forward. The past year has brought some exciting new initiatives to imbue our members with the knowledge, values, and skills to take our places in regional leadership.
You may remember that last year, the Board of Directors authorized the renaming of our annual fund. It's now known as the Darden Fund. We would like to launch a class fundraising competition, because we know our classes like to compete, to see who really is the best class ever.
2002. Go 2002.
And we will announce the winner at our Founders Lunch in May.
Josh was proud of what we have accomplished. So let's make sure that we continue to succeed and contribute in ways that honor the gift of his life and his legacy. In fact, in mere days, all Civic alums will be receiving in the mail an opportunity to do just that. If you're not an alum, but you've been inspired by the work we're doing, please reach out to any of the people you've seen on this stage tonight, and we'll be happy to connect you to our wonderful organization.
Thank you, Andrea and Ann. Thank you so much, and thank you so much. I am also thrilled to tell tell you two things. One is that it's unbelievable. This is where you just, I don't know, you just know God looks out for fools, I guess, because Ann and Andrea have actually agreed to chair this event again next year, and that is a great delight for those of us in the civic staff. We hope you'll jot a note to the Brocks. You'll find the note cards in the back of the Vista, of the Rotunda area. And what our habit is to give those notes of appreciation to our honorees. This year, we'll be giving those in a beautiful piece of glass, which has been created by an artist in the Chrysler Museum. So we look forward to that. Hope you will contribute to that. Joan and Macon, you said one thing to us, which was get it done on time. It's 8 o'clock. We have done it within 1 hour. Dessert is served in the Rotunda. Thank you for coming.